Hello.
You know, this is probably the first time that we've talked in a couple of days when I wasn't driving down the road 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's right.
So I've been thinking about Bridge Guy. Today, as I was sitting there and I was just thinking, and I cleared my head. Actually, did some great things after this. But for just a second, I was like, well, who is this Bridge Guy? And of course, I just looked and put different kinds of hair on their sketch. Very rudimentary, but just trying to get bangs, because it looks like he has bangs in there to me. But, of course, I don't know that we'll ever be able to figure out if he's old or young from a picture, because I know that pictures of me sometimes you can look a whole lot younger, contingent upon, the lighting and just, I don't know until we bring him into focus. The police, the state police guy suggests that he thinks that you'll see these two images morph into one thing. And the reason why they say that, and this is what everybody's theory is that different people of different ages have described this guy differently. So there's been words said that there were a bunch of teenagers there that day. And, of course, if someone is 35 years old, the Bridge Guy, let's say he's 35 or 30, whatever, 35, and someone 16 sees this 36-year-old, 36, 35, 30, whatever, and then if someone 50s and 60s sees a guy that's in his 30s, they're going to see something totally different.
It's a perception. It's a perception thing. You're right.
Well, that's just one of the theories on why there's some differentiation. Because, you look at it, they would describe it differently. I know that whenever I was young, I did think that 30 was old. Now, 30 was 20 years ago,
Oh,
So,
yeah,
but then I started thinking, I started watching that video and looking at those every 48 frames. And usually whenever you and I are talking, I'm calling it 47 frames. But I don't even count the last one because it sucks as bad as the first one does. It's just those last, 44, 45, 46, 47 that interest me the most. The other ones, I see things in him. I see there's like one little thing where he corrects and walks what is seemingly toward them with his head down and it looks like he's charging in some ways, and he's about to look up, and she catches him looking down on a rough spot where he has to correct his. He's changing the way he's walking. He's walking, and he's moving toward the center of the trestle. So, the ties. And so you catch him there, one point in time where he looks down, and that's when she does it so he doesn't see her filming, because he's looking down. But, of course, the day we talked about it, like if you got a camera and I was trying to take pictures of Kent up under a bridge moving down a highway, it wasn't as easy as I thought that was going to be either. And if I gave you one good picture of it out of, how many ever frames I gave you, it was about the same thing. So I started seeing that, I don't really know much about that guy. Even the way he walks, I can just deduce certain things. But he's doing something. Is he a sexual predator? Is he just a murderer? Did they catch him peeing and they laughed at him? Whatever. Who knows? What in your mind? We don't know. But what are you forming from what you're seeing and hearing? Just your big picture of what this guy's doing there. Is he just they just walk up on him and decided to kill him? Does it make fun of him? Is he a killer? Is he a sexual predator? What is this guy?
Again, just the way he moves. We've discussed that before about he's obviously got some experience with hunting, or he can at least move around the woods, or that kind of thing. The looking down, of course, if it's being a trestle, you kind of automatically look down. But I really think it was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. I don't necessarily think they were catfishing or something, but they could have been. Of course, there's the parents say no, but, denial is a wonderful thing. It's not just the river in Egypt, type thing. So, I mean, there could just be, they just don't believe it, and that could be what it was. But personally, I think it's just, he was just a sadistic person. He happened to see them at some point somehow, and he decided to go around the other side, park or something, and just take advantage of the situation, I believe is what he did. Of course, in the ordering of the, guys now down the hill, type thing. I mean, the expectation of obedience, and then, with the, apparently, the sadistic nature of the actual murders, he made one watch the other or vice versa, and just, he just made it brutal. So, I mean, you're talking about just a sadistic pleasure thing, I think. I think we had a comment about, not necessarily any drugs or alcohol. He could have had it in his past, by all means, but he also just could be a sociopath, S&M type, narcissist, type thing. He's just a sadistic fuck is all I know. And I wish we could find some more out about it. You're right. The last few frames are the best chance you got to get some shape, form, or fashion of recognition. But that's kind of where I was the last time. We kind of really got into it more, really, and a little more thinking about it. We discussed the genes, and maybe some of the reasons for that. It could just be he was a construction guy, and like me now, I wear when I wear boots, my work boots type thing, I buy pants purposely a little bit long. They wrinkle up around my ankles when I walk, and they'll fit in the waist. Well, the reason I do that is so when I sit down, my britches legs don't pull up above the top of my boots, and then when I stand up, they're hung on the top of the boots, and you're always having to correct it. So now that may be why the britches are long, and just the wore out knees, just an old pair of comfortable jeans. There's so many things and ways you can look at it without knowing a whole bunch of, without getting good photographs. Yeah. That's kind of what do you think?
It's easy to read a lot into it, and I agree with you. See, the thing of it is that, I've always heard that the very best detectives are people that can not only just look at and see what is actually there. In other words, don't start reading shit to it just yet. Just look at it. What's there? What do you see? And then start trying to feed stuff to it. And like today, I was sitting there and I was just looking at it. I was just letting it talk to me, and it didn't tell me much. I'd like to say that it did.
I suspect not.
No, it didn't. I mean, I sit there and just like a million other people, I can assure you, I sat there watching that over and over and over, and just trying to see, slowing it down and look at those individual frames,
Yeah.
And of course, I want this thing captured. I mean, I think I would feel better about the world knowing that it was not here anymore. Specifically with what it did to those girls and left them there like that. And like I said, I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about this child sex ring thing up there, and there's always, like you mentioned the other day, it always is kind of a go-to thing for whenever kids go missing. Which, I mean, come on, it makes sense in some ways.
Yeah.
For sure, and because there's so many
to victimize, an adolescent in some shape, form, or fashion. Yeah.
Well, I didn't never really understand because it's so weird to just think about it. But I've never contemplated the people that do that. But then we've all seen those specials of those guys that show up to meet whatever news guy he was at this place to meet young girls.
Yeah.
Young girls. I mean, they show up at their house. So apparently, I guess that I think about it differently. Because maybe it's just because of the way I live or whatever, but I don't fetishize young girls. I mean,
no, I just don't, dude. That's like a non-starter.
I mean, and not really young women either. Like young 20-something-year-olds. I mean, that's like our daughter's age. I'm sure there's attractive ones. I go, yeah, that's pretty, but I don't look at it.
Yeah.
like I did when I was younger, for sure.
So, right, yeah.
So I'm saying this guy, I don't know how old he is. Just based on those images there, would you care to throw an age out there?
Rough guess, I'd probably say 28 to 45. Probably closer to 40. You know, kind of in the middle is where I figure he's at. But just a range there, you know.
But now, so you think he's older then? Huh? See, I don't know. The more I look at that image, there's a part of me that thinks, man, that guy, he's young. You know, he is younger. But
well,
you just can't tell because there's other. Because let me just say this, and I'm gonna let you speak your part.
No, it's fine.
But now, out of 48 images we have of him, every one of them but 3 or 4 look old. But I want to say that whenever you see him, he does look younger. You know.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I really think it's a little older, especially when you're talking about, you know, that the father-son thing, is because just the images, you know, my perception of him is the dude's got, like, looks like at least a goatee type, you know, type thing, a goat. He may just have some stubble, a couple missed days shaved, you know, but it looks like he's got enough hair that, you know, the picture of the younger guy that was the suspect, you know, of course now he's swole up, but during that time, you know, when I see pictures at that time period, you know, he just don't look like he could have that, you know.
Yeah.
But now again, I mean, I could be seeing something totally different. You know, we've discussed the duckbill hat, the one with the flap in the back and the earmuffs that can, you know, you can pin down around your side of your head. I mean, that may be what I'm seeing flapping, and, you know, that brown bill on top is part of that cap. You know, it's really hard to tell, but it does look like he has a facial hair, which at least says, that kid is a little too young for the one they were suspecting. But that's just my opinion, you know. But I do think he's an older person.
Well, see, like with me, it's like when I thought I was seeing hair, but I think that what I was seeing was some kind of something around his neck, something down there. Now, it could be hair because I've looked at it 100 times. Now, you got to understand, we're just talking about this of where we're standing at today. I look at this differently all the time. It changes for me. You know, of course,
yeah.
I mean, and like I said, it's just like I think Axl Rose is also from Indiana, and he was he got criticized for that song "One in a Million," and it's a very crude song. You know, it's not very politically correct for sure. And like they asked him about it, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the way I felt that day," and then you know, and then you know, souls in the road.
Yeah.
Well, I felt that fucking day. That was it. I mean,
yeah. You know, there you go. That's the way I felt the day I wrote the song. Oh, I agree with you. You know, you look at it in different ways, and you know, we kind of, you know, watch and read some of his comments, and we, you know, check other people's pages and ideas out, and it'll spark something new in us, and you know, one of us to start looking at. You know.
Yeah, it's just a constant barrage of new things, and of course, it's like a lot of things in life, and specifically when if you ever start playing with true crime, is that it's I mean, there's so many things that sound good. I mean, because it all makes sense. If you don't know how it turns out, I remember hearing about this concept when I was reading a lot of history back in the last of last year and the very first of this year. But they told you up front that when you're reading history or when you're looking back at the past, that you cannot think of that person the way that think of them thinking that they're going to succeed or everything's going to turn out like it did, because they may even be wanting it to be different than what it is. But it turns out, and we look back on history and we just think that, well, it had to turn out that way. That's just fate. That's just the way it goes. But it didn't have to turn out that way. You know, what they suggest if you read a lot of history is to study what's called an air of freedom. So all your characters, you need to read them with an air of freedom, you know, because they're running along there at that point in time doing that. That's why, like, when I see this guy easing up there, he's not really easing up there. It's like we catch that moment whenever they really get scared of him. Something happened right before that. We know it happened quick too, because they took the last picture on Snapchat there at 2:07 and 2:13. She's rolling video of this dude, you know. And so he got up there quick. I mean, it was quick after we see that last picture. It's very quick. You know, when it just happened very soon before this video started. So
and that could have been what alarmed her. You know, was he was kind of moving with such purpose and not looking at them at all. And, you know, I mean, that would ring alarm bells. I mean, come on, you're walking along there and you know you're approaching someone. The first thing you kind of do is glance up and, you know, kind of acknowledge that y'all see each other, you know. And so maybe that's what actually alarmed her, is the rapid face down, just determined direction. And it says, oh, this is kind of scared me. And that's what made her trigger that little you know, piece of recording we've seen. There may be a little more, but it may be just him walking across the bridge the whole time. You know, we don't really know. So, but maybe that's the first ones you got close enough to be able to make out any type of face, and the rest of it is, you know, worthless, so they didn't release it. You know, we don't know for certain, but that's just my idea of why, if she only recorded that much, something like that just triggered an instinct in her to make her start doing that, I think.
Man, there's so many things I can talk about. One is there's the persons of interest, and I do want us to talk about that before we get away from the topic today. But the other is, oh my God. I mean, well, they all just left me, and person of interest was on my mind. So let's just jump there for just a minute. Well,
there was a guy. There was a person of interest I actually wanted to ask about, and I don't know the guy's name, and I'm assuming it was. No. It was the letters. I think were BM or maybe RM. But it was an older guy who was, you know, I would say, like I say, he's 35. He had like a goatee. It was kind of a reddish, you know, I mean, he was kind of a lighter haired. It was on one of the videos I watched that was really comprehensive that me and you talked about. And that's all the guy did. Of course, he was listed by initials, and he showed the picture. And just looking at that guy, the right age, the facial hair that, of course, I think I see in the video, I could just, you know, in my mind, take that guy's face and kind of tilt it towards me, you know, kind of like you're looking at it at a top-looking angle. And it almost looked like it would fit up in that hole, you know, and remind you of someone if you could just barely kind of see him. And then just his general build, you know, he was not really a bodybuilder, but you can tell the guy's pretty muscular. You know, he's kind of a stocky guy. You know, he's not just super tall, about 5'6", 5'7", you know, maybe up to 5'8", but, you know, he looked like he was an equal trunk and leg size, really, you know. So, again, that would kind of, you see what I'm saying there?
I do. I get you. But now I'm trying to think of who that is. I know that one I was thinking about is one they call either BC or BJC. And he was the guy he was arrested over in Lafayette. He had a 9-year-old trapped in the house and was torturing her and probably sexual violations as well. So, but he has pictures of himself living under bridges and in tents and out living off the grid, homeless at times. I think he was a welder when he wasn't homeless. But yeah, BJC.
It could be it.
But now I don't know BC. I don't know if that's who you're talking about, because there are many. There is one that you said like a DM or a BM. There's a RL.
Yeah.
I think he just died. He was
I want to say it was I want to say it was BM, because right after that, I'm pretty sure RL was listed on this particular video or, you know, thing I was watching. I'll have to go back and try to find it, but anyway, you know.
Well, just while we're doing this, BM Delphi, I just kind of looked it up real quick, see if I can find who it is. So there's many of them. I don't know. That may be the one that's the under the bridge couple guy.
I like that. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and find it. Yeah, but anyway, just that particular set of initials, when I find it out, so I could come back and beat it out. But anyway, he just kind of looked like that, to me. And so when they brought him up, said he was a suspect, and he was one of the stronger suspects. When I saw him, I thought, man, that's almost him, type thing.
I'm going to send it to you, but that may be the guy that committed suicide. So a lot of people have thought he was the guy. Sure.
Yeah.
But if there was DNA involved, they requested his DNA, and then it got quiet, and they're still chasing somebody. So I don't know what that tells you.
Yeah,
they have not. I sent that picture to you too.
Oh, okay. I got two of them, so that's why I was trying to figure out. Well, which screen? No, I don't think that's the guy I'm thinking about, but it might be. I say that it was so quick. It wasn't him in a jumpsuit. I mean, it was like a cameo, like out in the backyard picture type thing. So, but it could be the same guy. Anyhow, yeah, it was kind of like that. I'll go back and find the documentary.
Yeah, and that's okay. If maybe we start putting stuff in the comments. If anybody wants to look it up, But anyway,
you're right.
But now, I like that. So you've actually looked at them. But that's the thing. It's like we were talking about a little bit ago. If you're not careful, every one of them will fit, because it's easy to put someone into a role like that in your mind. Because every day we're always stereotyping what people are doing anyway. What they're thinking about me. Ever since you're a little kid, you've been thinking, what are they thinking about me? Oh, you laughed at me. You're making fun of me, because you think I'm stupid. No, I laughed at you because you did something stupid, not because you're inherently dumb. You just made a bad behavior. So I raise children. I hear this shit all the time.
Yeah, I understand. You're like, that's some circular logic right there, man.
Yeah.
But there is a distinction between thinking you're stupid and just know the behavior you just exhibited was what I thought lacked forethought.
Yeah.
The lack of forethought is your downfall right here now.
Yeah. And hey, and then I usually follow that up with, hey, and the reason why I know is because I've done the same thing. So there you go.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do with this case too. And I know we're actually at the top of our limit on this thing, so we got to jump out. But anyway, I guess that we're just kind of checking in to see where we were thinking in terms of Delphi today, and pushing this thing out. Because I think that of all the energy we can push out into this universe, we're going to circle this dude around and we're going to get his ass. That's my only hope, is that there's enough vibration, enough energy, enough people looking at these things and hearing about it and learning about it and gathering up knowledge, and somebody's going to see something. And we're going to get this son of a bitch. And this is how we're going to do it, is by pushing and pushing. What you got to say to end us out?
Oh, man, hey, whether the guy's still alive or dead, I just want us to figure it out. Catch some, because if he's dead already, well, it'd still be nice to know, all right, yeah, he's already dead, but now we know, At least there'll be some closure to it. But, yeah, I'm with you. All right, bro. Well, hey, I'm on run. We'll talk to you later.
Good night, brother.
All right, man. Bye-bye.